Hey, Johannes here. Let's go into the player base of Era after Classic Fresh WoW has come out. Classic Era player base is hard to calculate, as Ironforge Pro, the website that holds all the rankings for the player base, has not been updated in a really long time. That website takes the amount of players that got put into Warcraft logs and counts them up. Warcraft logs is a website where you can see how you perform compared to the rest of the players in a raiding environment. You can check this for Kata and Season of Discovery, also back in the day for Season of Mastery. This was a good indicator for how active the raiding environment was on Classic Era. Now that it's old info, I have to go over my generally gut feeling, and to be honest, I feel like Era on Europe just had about 2,000 to 3,000 players in total. This is including alts, and I know many have 5 to 6 alts playing weekly. This means we have to go over the signups rather than checking this website. That does not include new players that are leveling. These are feeling really far behind on the current population. This is why many choose Fresh Classic, so they are on an even playing field. We have been having to go lower on roster since release of Classic WoW Fresh, and I see it everywhere else too. Just less players, Stormwind City also feels empty. The AoE farmers are leveling to do that there instead. Less people PMing me about spots. I even had players that swore off playing Classic Fresh. They even started leveling up a character. Now onto the player base of Classic Fresh. It is popping. Here is a rough estimate for how many players are leveling on the PvP realm, where we are also called Spinesetter. There are dungeon runs going 24/7, even in the mornings, Spellcleave groups, but also normal dungeon groups. In the evening we have about 70 plus players online in the guild, and during mornings 15 plus. Players are grinding non-stop. There are guilds recruiting a lot, and the messages in world chat go so fast you'll need an add-on called Bullet Board to keep up. Which brings me back to the TPC version of the game, where it was mandatory having that add-on. I myself am leveling through Spellcleaving on my mage and having a blast. My plans for Fresh are to host software serve raids, since they banned GDKP raids in Classic Fresh. Maybe we'll be unbanned at some point and we can enjoy both again. I prepared the Discord and wrote out some announcement posts. I'm leveling a mage to 60, and then maybe after I will do a warrior. So many regulars of mine on Classic Era and old players that quit Classic in the past, even in 2019, decided to join me into Fresh, which is great. This makes me feel great about the community that we have built. During my leveling a mage to 60, I still hosted Classic Era raids on the side, but I had to delay some for a week as players were too hyped for the new version of WoW finally coming out, which makes sense. If Fresh is about to come out and you know you're going to invest a lot of time, why not take a week break of Era to prepare? Leveling takes a while in Classic WoW Fresh, which is why Blizzard decided to let the raids come out on a later date, on December 12th. To give our community even more time, I planned the raid Molten Core and Onyxia Tuesday of 17 December before the reset. This way we can do it back to back and give our players enough time to prepare for the raids. How was the player base of Classic Era WoW changed this past year leading up to Fresh? We used to host 16 runs a week at the peak of Era, which was about a year ago, and are doing now 5 to 7. It has been steady, with many taking breaks and coming back a lot. I instantly saw a big drop off during summer and when Season of Discovery came out. Now the moment the new Fresh got announced again, and chatted with many friends of our community about it. At first I thought it was not that interesting and I would just level a mage and see how it would be, but then I saw the changes with Classic Fresh, having dual spec, no buff and debuff limit. I got excited to try it. Announced right after this news that I would not only be playing, but also actively hosting raiding events in the future, and that players should prepare. Instantly this was reacted with hype and excitement. If you're looking for a community to play Era or Fresh, we have both our Discords in the description. Many other Era communities just said they would stay here, but if you have the time, why not enjoy both Classic Fresh and Classic Era? That is my plan at least. While Era drops off a bit in popularity, hopefully it gains it back after a few months. Long term I will stay committed to Classic Era. Also phase 1 is pretty long, and Molten Core with Onyxia does not take long to do. After getting your gold for 100% mount and pre-biz, you just have to get a few world buffs and farm consumables and you're ready for every raid. I'll have an investment video coming up soon, so make sure to subscribe to that. I hope that at the end of Fresh, when we go to the Burning Crusade, the players can copy their characters to Classic Era servers. This should increase the player base of Era a lot, if not at the start of TPC, then definitely in the future when players get that vanilla itch again that we all know and love. What do you think? Will Classic Era pick back up, die, or maybe even thrive? Drop it in the comments. I love reading what players are thinking. Honestly, I do not think Era is dead. It has a very loyal community that keeps playing it regardless with small breaks. Sure, the new players will go Fresh because of the Fresh economy, and that is fun with many players around. After TBC comes out, it will thrive once again. What can happen is that players enjoy Fresh so much that they will just level another character on Classic Era to enjoy AQ and Nax quicker, as they do not want to wait for the phases to come out. Here is the timeline for Classic Fresh, so you can see there are some big gaps. In these gaps you just level a Classic Era character meanwhile and enjoy the raids ahead of time. I will continue to promote both and have a blast in either universe. Hopefully you are not bummed about the player base in Era and decide to give Fresh a chance also, like we did. It is phase 1 and not much to do at level 60 other than player versus player, Onyxia and Molten Core. Many are taking their time with leveling this time around, which is different than the 24/7 no life to get server first rack kill. This is nice to see and I'm here for it, and taking my time also. Back in Season of Mastery, I rushed 3 characters to level 60 with not a lot of sleep, so we could host 3 runs ASAP. This was a lot of fun, but in reality it would have been more enjoyable just taking my time. Hopefully I shined a light on the player base on both Classic WoW, Fresh and Classic Era. I might do a video again when the raids are actually out to go over it again. See you in the next one.